Hello everyone, and welcome to part 1 of the Abominations of Mormonism. Now, I'm going to be straight up with you and tell you that I 100% believe, if you couldn't tell by the title, that Mormonism is an abomination, it is an added-on religion, and it has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. I believe that Mormonism is the product of Joseph Smith's successful attempt to use the name of God and Jesus to gain political power and sexual power to have as many women and wives that he wanted, some of which were underage. But let us begin with the Abominations of Mormonism. Mormonism is comprised of members called Mormons, but some of them don't like that name, so instead they go by the Church of Latter-day Saints. That's why you sometimes hear Mormonism and LDS associated with one another. But let's talk about 3 foundational beliefs from Mormons and just point out why it's simply an abomination. Number 1 foundational belief is the belief in the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon, published by Joseph Smith, who is the prophet who we will talk about later, is believed to be a record of ancient prophets who lived on the American continent, primarily focusing on 2 main groups, the Nephites and the Lamanites. The book claims that in the ancient days of America, Jesus Christ visited these certain groups of people, and this happened all after his resurrection around 2,000 years ago. And this book makes the claim that the true Israelites settled in ancient America, led by a prophet named Lehi, who was literally never named in a single scripture of the Bible. I don't know about you, but I honestly found that really interesting. I had never heard of anything, any religion, any denomination talking about ancient America holding the true Israelites. That was kind of cool. Now, of course, I don't believe that, but I find it interesting to study. But yeah, that's pretty crazy, right? Well, it gets a lot crazier. Apparently, this Book of Mormon was translated from these ancient golden plates that Joseph Smith discovered in 1823. By the way, conveniently, nobody has a single clue where these plates are today. But yeah, most Mormons believe that these golden plates were given back to this angel named Moroni, but that's for a whole nother video. Let's move on to foundational belief number 2, the belief that Joseph Smith was a prophet. Mormons believe that he was a prophet of God who experienced many revelations, around 130 to be exact. These supposed revelations can be found in a Mormon book called Doctrines and Covenants, which is primarily about Joseph Smith's many revelations. Now, don't get this mixed up with the Book of Mormon. This is just another added-on text to the Bible, or added-on book to the Bible. Now, for example, in this book, he had a first revelation, which they call the first vision. Apparently, this happened to Joseph at the age of 14 when he allegedly saw the Father and Jesus as 2 distinct beings who came to him and basically told him that all denominations of the world had gone astray and that Joseph, the holy Joseph, needed to create a new church, which is why they call themselves the Church of the Latter-day Saints, LDS. By the way, again, Joseph Smith is known for his polygamy with many women, around 30 to be exact, and including a 14-year-old girl. And of course, this is all 100% against the Bible, and this is Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad 2.0. Now, most of you know that the Bible makes it pretty clear that there will be false prophets who arise in the latter days. 1 Timothy 4:1 says, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils." Another verse in 2 Timothy says, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned into fables." And lastly, in the book of Jeremiah, it says, "Then the Lord said unto me, The prophets prophesy lies in my name. I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you unto a false vision and divination, and a thing of naught in the deceit of their heart." Also, the Bible literally tells us that if a prophet gives one false prophecy, that they are 100% a false prophet. Deuteronomy 18:20-22 says, "But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, How shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken. but the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. He's literally saying if one prophet comes along and says one thing incorrectly about a prophecy that he supposedly had or was revealed to him, then he's a false prophet. But here's some examples of some false prophecies that Joseph Smith has had. First off, in his writings, The Doctrine and Covenants, he said that the New Jerusalem would be built in the land of Missouri. He says, "Hearken, O ye people who are of my church, saith the Lord your God, and hear the word of the Lord concerning you. For verily, verily, I say unto you, that it is my will that a city should be built unto me in this place," which is the land of Missouri, "and that a house should be built unto me for the work of the gathering of my people, and this shall be called the New Jerusalem, a land of peace, a city of refuge, a place of safety for the saints of the Most High." Now, honestly, it's kind of hilarious to think that the New Jerusalem would be in Missouri, because anyone who's been to Missouri just kind of knows that that ain't the case. And of course, this has never happened and will never happen, and there is no biblical, archaeological, or historical evidence that points to this ever happening. Here's another false prophecy from Doctrine and Covenants. "For verily I say unto you, the coming of the Lord is at hand, and the hour of his coming is nigh at hand. And if he were to come today, I should not be surprised." So nothing wrong so far. "But I do not expect him to come before the year 1890. For if he should come, I, Joseph Smith, shall be the means of his coming, and not by the means of men. For I have not yet received that which I have asked of the Lord." This verse seems to imply that the second coming of the Lord was going to come during Joseph's lifetime, and he was going to play a very big part in it. Now, usually from what I've seen, Mormons will kind of cop out of this by saying that Joseph was merely saying if he comes, but that's for another video. Lastly, let's move on to their foundational belief number 3, their plan and salvation. The plan of salvation in Mormonism is extremely different than that of Christianity and blatantly contradicts the teachings of the true prophets and the true Christ. I mean, it literally teaches that all people lived with God in a pre-mortal state before coming to earth, where they were given the opportunity to choose between good and evil. The mortal life is seen as a test. After death, they believe that souls are judged based on their choices, aka works, with the faithful, aka good people, receiving a place in the presence of God. Ultimately, they believe that exaltation, pride, is the goal. Salvation, according to them, is essentially based on how well someone participates in sacred ordinances, such as temple rituals and keeping covenants made with God. So how does all of this contradict the Bible? The book of Ephesians says, "For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast." The book of Romans says, "Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law." And Galatians says, "Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by faith of Jesus Christ, even we have believed in Jesus Christ, that we might be justified by the faith of Christ, and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified." Now, of course, I'm not saying that works are not important and extremely good to God. Obviously, we should all strive for good works, but the good works aren't going to save us. The good works are simply a product of our salvation. We do good works because we are saved, not to earn salvation. But this concludes today's video. I know that we didn't really get too deep into it. I just wanted to give everybody a very vague understanding of the fundamentals of Mormonism. I hope you all enjoyed this. I will break down each of these and go into the more unique and crazy stories. Trust me, y'all have not heard anything yet. I hope you all have a great day. Peace.